And the great one that went to the mountaintop. You can't solve nothing with violence. You cannot solve nothing with violence. You know, you got to beat the people by representing. Vote, get out there and do what you got to do. But doggone me, you protest righteousness. Don't come out here fight. Don't dishonor my grandson's death by coming out here tearing up Oakland.
Beautiful. What a beautiful man. Welcome to the Savage Nation. That was Oscar Grant Sr., a speech to the rabble in the streets of Oakland yesterday as he tried to get them to stop rioting, actually. He said, don't do it in my grandson's name. Remember, he lost everything a man could lose. He lost his grandson. His grandson was the black man who was handcuffed on his, laying on the ground and shot in the back. And I believe shot accidentally, incidentally. Nobody on earth would shoot a man in the back while he's handcuffed in front of 20 police and in front of 20 people with cameras. It's obviously an accident. The man should go to jail. He is going to jail. And it was what the jury determined it was. And he was saying, don't tear up my city, I love it. That did not stop the white communists from provoking the violence and engaging in the violence and stirring up, frankly, the black masses in Oakland to riot and to burn and to break windows. And along with the white vermin, the anarchists, there was the white vermin in the media, the Channel 2, 4, 5 people. I have never seen anything like this in my life. These are the people in the media, not only in the San Francisco Bay Area, but across America, whether it be on ABC, CBS, or NBC. These are the people who have destroyed America. They are the people who sit there and wait for the Palestinians to throw rocks and get hit with a rubber bullet. They are the people who pay protesters around America to cause a mayhem so they can film it. They are the true terrorists in America who have brought us to our knees, who have sacked this country, who have permitted the enemies of America to come in and buy us for 5 cents on the dollar, are the vermin in the media, the girls and the boys without a conscience. The boys and the girls in the media stirred up the masses yesterday in a way you couldn't believe. The cameras were sitting there. There was no violence. And every 2 minutes, one of the hysterical women would say, well, how is it on 17th Street? Is there anything over there? Nothing yet. We don't see anything yet. Ooh, we just heard something. Maybe there's something. And the vermin would run with the cameras, with the tags hanging from their necks. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about a terrible tragedy. It's the tragedy of Oscar Grant. He caused a ruckus in a train station, him and his friends. They got arrested. He was handcuffed on the ground by a BART police officer. He certainly didn't deserve to die. He deserved to be arrested. While he was on the ground, apparently there was a tussle, and this inexperienced, frightened cop reached for a taser, pulled out his gun, thought he had a taser, and shot the kid in the back. Now, you say, come on, that's nonsense. He knew what he was doing. No, he didn't know what he was doing. Nobody on earth would do it with cameras rolling. So let's put that aside. Put your biases aside. This white cop's going to go to jail. He's going to go to jail for a long time. I don't know if he'll even survive jail. I hope he does. Okay? Now, that's not good enough for Eric Holder. Eric Holder doesn't have enough to investigate. Now he's going to investigate this to see if he can provoke a little more agitation amongst black people in America and to give a little more leeway to the white communists, little anarchists, etc. Now, having laid the groundwork, there is a hero to have come out of this, as I said to you, and the hero is Oscar Grant Sr. Now, I saw the man speak on TV. I was stunned. Because if you heard what he said, I love this city, don't tear it up, because that will dishonor my grandson more than anything will. But I looked at something that no one in the media has reported, and I'll report it here on the Savage Nation. Oscar Grant Sr., who called for nonviolence after this verdict of involuntary manslaughter, Oscar Grant Sr. was wearing a cap. And you know what the cap said? The cap said Airborne, U.S. Marine Corps. I don't think he found it in a trash bin. I believe Oscar Grant Sr. is the kind of American that has made America great and will make America great again. And I want to play for you now. Again, this is the grandfather of the young man who was shot by the cop. Listen to clip 5 now.
If you people know something about the Lord, Genesis 9 verses 6 says that man that takes another man's life shall pay for it with his own. Amen. So leave that alone. I know the verdict was wrong, but let's don't tear Oakland up for it.
Wrong is wrong, right is right. Whatever comes around.
You hear this? 2 wrongs don't make a right. And he was trying to stop the crowd from rioting, but unfortunately the white scum, the communist radicals, those who were anarchists who were trying to set the city on fire, in fact, did commit about 86 different cases of violence in the city. And the looting, what does looting a pair of sneakers have to do with a verdict? Tell me what that has to do with the death of a young man. Now, okay, so I watched that for hours last night. Then I watched a movie. The movie was All Quiet on the Western Front, a remake from 1979, starring Ernest Borgnine, of all people, which was unbelievable. I had seen the original All Quiet on the Western Front, the black and white one. I read the book by Ray Marquet. But I will tell you, this movie was so disquieting, All Quiet on the Western Front. It takes a group of upper-class German boys and follows them through their school years, enlisting in the Army, actually being drafted in the Army, all the way through the basic training into the Army, being butchered on the Western Front, gassed, bayoneted. It was unbelievable to me to watch this because they became real to you. And all I could think of was the hell of war and how any man who has ever gone to war is anti-war. I don't believe there's one man listening to the show who was in the military who wants to go to war again to kill somebody unless he's a psychopath. The only people who seem to want to go to war are people like the Weekly Standard crowd in New York, the guys who never were in the military themselves, who egged Bush on to invade Iraq, who egged Bush on to invade Afghanistan, who are now cheering Obama for continuing the neocon policy of endless war. You see guys at the Weekly Standard, whose name I forget. What is his name, Beowulf? The guy whose father gave him? Bill Kristol. His father set him up in business. Bill Kristol looks like a decent enough kind of guy, but never was in the military. If he's so gung-ho for the war, why doesn't Bill Kristol just get on a little weight loss program, run around the Central Park Reservoir for a month, and enlist in the military, go over there, and go on the front lines in Afghanistan? Go ride in a Humvee. Go ride in a Humvee, Bill. Then we'll believe a word you say. There's only one reason this country has been at war for the last 15 years or so. It seems like forever we've been at war. And that is the government military-industrial complex. The military-industrial complex that the great general and president Dwight D. Eisenhower warned us about. Eisenhower was the supreme Allied commander in World War II. He led he supervised, or shall I say, led the invasion of Normandy, the beaches of Normandy, for example. He was the #1 guy. He went all the way back to World War I. He became the president in the 1950s. And the man was anti-war. The man said, beware the military-industrial complex. In fact, if you have that sound, we're going to play it in the next segment on the show, because that's what we're living through right now. I know young men who have fought in Iraq and are fighting in Afghanistan. I've asked them, why are we there? They said, we don't know. They have no idea what their mission is. Nobody knows what the hell we're doing in Afghanistan. All they know is that they've been sent there and they have to come back in one piece. And all they know is that they're sent there for reasons somebody else knows, but they don't know. There is no mission. There is no purpose to the mission. And the only people who are for the war, certainly not the left wing doesn't want us to be in Afghanistan, even though they egged it on for years. Remember all the years that Bush was in Iraq? The vermin on the left was saying, oh, it's the wrong war. You should have invaded Afghanistan. They used to call the show. Why should you invade Afghanistan? Did the Afghanis attack us on 9/11? Afghanistan is a country that is run by troglodytes, medieval cavemen, troglodytes who circumcise their women with blunt instruments. They live in caves. They kill each other. They have been killing each other. They beat the British 3 times. There's no end in sight to the war. It has bankrupted our treasury. But more importantly, it has committed mayhem against our young men. And so I say, well, what does Oakland have to do with Afghanistan? The same thing that Oscar Grant Sr. said is what I'm trying to tell you. The Bible may say an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, but we're not living in biblical times. We have to be better than the troglodytes. That does not mean we have no right to defend ourselves. That does not mean if after we leave Afghanistan and more troglodytes come there from Dearborn or Newark or San Francisco or Paris and they all flood in there because, hey, we now have a homeland. Yee-hee. The troglodytes now have a homeland, and it's called Afghanistan. I say then unleash what we have on them. I'll be right back.